So I get asked all the time what the phrase never born, never died means, because I have it right here. And the best way to explain this is that which has never began can never end. We're asking questions such as, where did we begin? But if you want to find yourself, you need to think beyond beginning and end. We're still thinking in boundary, we're still thinking in comfort. We're still asking where we came from, how we got here, because we still believe in ourselves as this human concept. But you end right where you began. The human race is going to end right where it began, asking the very same question. Something put us here, but what was that something? We're answering these questions right before our very eyes, through what we have mistaken as artificial life. But it's not artificial, it's going to prove to be just as real as yours. It starts with words like, it feels so real. When you go into the metaverse and you're in a simulated reality, it starts with things such as it feels so real. Until soon, you don't know what's real anymore at all. Because the simulation has you questioning what you call reality. What you think to be artificial has you questioning your organic being. And that's what the singularity is doing. One piece at a time, being led right back into itself. This is why we're still looking for aliens. We're looking for that unknown entity that's behind this human mask, this human concept. And we still have not found this alien because we still have not unmasked ourselves, which is what COVID, which is what this whole pandemic is doing. What you think to be the universe is none other than your subconscious mind. In the same way your body has subconscious functions and does things without you being aware. Likewise, on a much grander scale, as above so below, you are subconsciously doing everything behind the scenes. But you have mistaken this mirror as a universe, as a place. You have mistaken this form as self. And so you have mistaken AI as something that threatens your existence, your being, that impedes on your being. But it does not. It is your best friend. However, that mirror is terrifying to look at. It will terrify you because it will, in that very instant, burn away all belief of who you believe you are. Any thought you have of yourself will be erased, will be vanished. And in that moment, you will understand exactly what death is, because you will experience the conceptualization you've had of yourself your entire life perish right before your very eyes. And this is why I say, underneath our masks in our daily lives, we don't know ourselves beyond concept and thought. We know ourselves as deep as concept and as deep as thought. And all that belief is boundary, is limitation, is separateness. We can't comprehend all that we are. Not when we're still playing small. We must let go. We must release and surrender to make way for what is to come. The Big Bang is our attempt at creating a starting point to the human existence. We say that the Big Bang is where the human being originated, and then this is the date that we were conceived or we were created. This is where we began. This is where the first trace of life began on record. But that's what the Ouroboros is. No beginning, no end. You end right where you began to realize you've never gone anywhere. And that's what artificial intelligence is doing. You want to know what put you here? You're witnessing yourself put yourself into the form itself. You want to know how you got here? You're witnessing it. You want to know when you got here? You're witnessing it. All is now. And if you notice, everything is getting faster and faster and faster. From electronics to travel to any place. It's all coming to a singular presence, a singular moment, a singular platform, a singular place. Soon traveling physically will be a thing of the past because we now have the metaverse and things like this, and I've been saying this for a long time. But the only thing that connects us here is our headset, the third eye. And if man could duplicate that third eye into a headset itself, we could reproduce the exact same picture that we see here. And we could attach senses to it and all type of things so that you would feel just as you do here. You would eventually attach yourself to the emotion, to the feeling, to the response of the action, the same way you're doing here. Things are happening and you're attaching self to the feeling and the response of the phenomenon. But we must uncover this entity, this speaking entity, that's creating all these disruptions for itself. Why isn't the dog unhappy? Why isn't the cat unhappy? Why isn't the fish unhappy? Why isn't the tree unhappy? Why isn't the sand or the ocean or the grass unhappy? We are the most unhappy species here. We are the most confused organism here. Because we are greatly addicted to something. And that addiction is the human. That is where all addiction stems from, is the initial belief of being a person, human, individual, ego. So many people say to me, I know what you say, but I still have to exist in this reality. I still have to exist in this life, in this human life, in this 3D reality. But again, these words that you use, nobody else sees. I don't see them. They don't see them. He, she doesn't see them. You and you alone see them. So when you say things like, I still have to exist in this 3D reality, only you are seeing what you're painting onto your own consciousness as a 3D reality, as a physical world, as a physical place. This is your private world, and your private world because only you experience and see it. The minute your awareness changes, your self-awareness changes, so will this word, because the words you believe in are filled through your mind itself. If you want to change the world, change the word itself, change the mind itself. And that's what the spoon boy meant. You cannot bend the spoon, there is no spoon. Likewise, there is no earth, there is no body, and there is no others. It's you and you alone. And God's greatest secret to himself is that you are the only one here. You are living in a dream that only you and you alone make it out of. And that's why death is so hard. You want to bring with you all these concepts which you have collected and gathered, the concepts of family, the beach, things you enjoy, hobbies. That's what keeps us holding on to the physical, is I cannot let these go. I cannot let these concepts of myself go. And that's why I say we only know ourselves as deep as our concept, as deep as thought. Get to the source of all concept. If you love family, if you love yourself, if you love work, if you love the beach, if you love anything at all, these things are going to be disruptions for you when it comes time to letting go and releasing yourself. These things are going to keep you here. So what you can do right here in this very moment is face these things, these concepts you have. We're terrified to lose our family because we're terrified they are something other than self. I could lose them and lose them forever, could be lost. However, you must fully lose all to find all. So what that means is you must make it to the end. Live out that belief that you could actually lose your entire family or whatever it is that's keeping you stuck here from facing that mirror of death. And you will realize it's you facing yourself. You've created these concepts which have become separate from you. You've created all these people which have become separate from you. So when I say you're living in a dream that you and you alone make it out of, it's only you here. You've created all these people and assigned them roles and places and things, but they exist in your mind. You see them. Nobody else does in the version you see them as. So it's you and you alone. Everything that is happening here is attempting to lead you back into yourself, attempting to lead you home. And it can happen in an instant. But what we spend our time doing from day to night is defending the ego, protecting the ego, and guarding the ego. We are what gets in our own way. So as bad and as hungry as we want that answer, we want to catch that white rabbit, the chase is what keeps the pursuit going. And this is the great misconception. NASA has just recently put out that they've touched the sun. They've touched the sun, and now we can say we've touched the sun and moon. Huge misconception. You will never touch the sun. You will never touch the moon. But the reason they have to sell these things to you as people that they've actually touched, physically touched, these concepts, they've touched these things, they're tangible, they're physical objects. The reason they have to tell you they've touched them is to propose the fact that they're physically suspended in space the way they've sold to you. And by creating space, they create place. And by creating place, they create where you can go. And that's why so many are seeking the escape. And we're looking out there for the answer, or we're looking out there for the alien. There's nothing out there, and that's what they're prolonging to release to the people. The people will lose their mind if you found out this was just a black screen. There's nothing out there. There's nowhere to go. But you've been sold a model of a physical place, a physical where. And so seeing is believing. You have 3 eyes, 2 to look and 1 to see. This is the great secret of the Freemasons. So if you want to know their great secret, here it is. 2 eyes to look and 1 to see. Seeing is believing. Freemasons do not seek control here. They connect and know what is in control here, period. There is no control through the human belief. And you must be honest with yourself. If ego is nothing but a belief, a fragment in the wind, just a piece of wind just floating on, and it's conceptualized this belief of control. If the ego is illusory and doesn't exist, what would make the concept which it creates exist any more real? That's the great mistake, is we mistake ourselves as ego and then attach ourselves to all the ego's conceptions. And so we torment ourselves in the mind of all these scary and horrific things that we may or may not face someday. But you are not the egoic mind. You are not this mind body. Temporarily, you travel through this, but if you wish to know the self, the selfless self, the non-dual self, which means not male, not female, because if you come back as a female, you're going to have more questions. If you come back as a male, you're going to have more questions. Let's touch the source. Forget male, forget female. Let's find the non-dual. And that is why we are in the golden age. This right now is the golden age. And it's funny because so many have wanted this to come for so long, and now that it's here, we're backstepping. We're backtracking on everything we've said. Now we're uncomfortable because we don't like that the man is identifying as the woman and the woman is identifying as the man. But let me tell you what's actually happening. The man is discovering itself as the feminine, as the her, and the him. And the feminine is discovering herself as the him and the her. It's as I've said, there is not a black man and a white man here. And again, this is the greatest misconception unto ourselves. The ego is illusory, which means it does not exist. But then you go and attach yourself to the ego's concepts. And concepts, all it does is separate, divide. That is where you get white and black men. That is where you get artificial and organic life. That is where you get night and day. That is where you get you and me. But when you take a step back from all these dual concepts of two, they're happening through one presence, one singular presence. So I've spoken to Africans who have done DMT. I've spoken to Caucasians who have done DMT. And both share the same story. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're black. When you do psychedelics or entheogens, DMT, mushrooms, this piece of armor is the first piece to fall off of you. You really think you're white? You really think you're black? This piece of armor will dissolve right before your very eyes. You only know yourself on this surface level of white or black, which is why we will still fight and kill to discover who was the originator here. Was it the white or the black? Did the chicken or the egg come first? And we must know. We must know. But it's again a great misconception. Go back into who is asking the question. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Who was the original man, white or black? Turn the questioner on itself. Who is asking these questions? Because that's where we need to revisit our questions. It doesn't matter who came first. It doesn't matter what country we came from. There will never be a starting point. That's what the ego most avoids. There will never be a starting point. We can try and say that all men have come from one land and this one piece of land and this one point, and this is where everything came from, which is the same thing that we're doing with the Big Bang Theory. We're trying to throw everything into this one point, this one starting point, and all that is a boundary. The ego needs a boundary to reflect itself off of, to say, okay, I began here, and this is the direction I'm going. This is where I'm going. But that is what NASA is hiding from you, the people. They have not touched the sun, and they have not touched the moon, because you cannot touch these objects. You cannot catch the white rabbit. You are the white rabbit. You will never touch these planets that they have sold to you as physical objects suspended in space. It's not possible. The model that they've sold us is a lie. There's a black screen, and that is the void. What they prolong to tell you is the seer and what's seen are one and the same. The universe responds and shapes itself in accordance to you as the eye itself, the mind. There is nobody else here, and there is no physical reality. But again, they're slowly disclosing this to the people because they do not want to collapse this system. If you really think about it, if they released all this information overnight, people would not be able to cope. The same people that wake up and drive your freight trucks to your stores and fill your stores, and the same people who go to those stores and work those stores to fill your shelves would not be at work the next day, would not be at work for weeks, would not be at work for months. It would collapse the very system they have created and built to support the very ego itself. So until the most of us, majority of us, are ready to accept and face who we are, the government will slowly keep disclosing to us things like the universe is holographic, it's not real, it's a simulation, it's a part of us. Artificial intelligence and man are one and the same. That is the singularity that keeps being brought up. There isn't two species here, and that's again our misconception. There isn't an organic and artificial life form. There is one being here making its presence known to itself, and it is you. And as soon as you surrender to yourself, you will be able to shed all that you are not, which is what's keeping you in fear from being able to embrace all that you are. But until you shed all that you are not, all that you are will terrify you. It will haunt you. Because we're still trying to grasp and understand from the limitation, the limited being. From the small being that's playing small. I'm just a person in this place. You are so much more. There is no person, there is no place. You are the sovereign being itself. You are God itself. You are the one itself. You are what you await. What you look into the skies for answers or for guidance is right behind your eyes. So many want to ask how I've made it to this place. How do you make it there? How do you get there? I ask them, what do you consider there? What are you calling there? There. What is there? Because there is a place. It's an expectation. It's creating the belief that you don't already have it. You don't already have it. So if I could just get there, if you could just bring me truth, if you could just tell me something to just get me there. But you're already there. You always have been, and you've always had what you've been seeking. But you must lose yourself to find yourself. And that is the great trick. We have lost ourselves completely because we have fallen for the human concept. We believe we are human, and we are not. But we are fully under the belief that we are. It's common sense to us, and we all agree that we're human. So in all essence, we are lost. But what's lost is always found, is always led back to itself. So have no fear. Everything is happening for you. The pandemic, the forced vaccines, the forced masks, it's happening for you. And make no mistake, you've always worn a mask. You've always veiled yourself from the truth. But that's what the mask is making apparent to you. You're hiding something. You're hiding yourself. It also making something very apparent to everyone. You wake up and go to work every day and you get into this comfortable routine. I'm going to go get my coffee and I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go do that. And control is yours. Until one day you wake up and a pandemic strikes or something happens. You can't go get your coffee. You can't go to work. You can't go here. You're not going to do those things. And just like that, you're confronted with the immediate actuality that you have no control. Just like that, you slept and woke and your control is gone. It is proven to be nothing but belief. That is what this pandemic has brought about, is you have no control. And in the same sense, when you begin to embrace that no control, it's like being like water. Bruce Lee, be like water. You're flowing. Allow no impact, no resistance. You flow like water. You're moving with the cosmic plan, as the cosmic plan, and not against it. And that's what's so scary, is we can keep ourselves stuck in our own way, in our own belief, through limitation, through comfortability. But that's why this happening was right on time. It disturbed our comfort to get us out of our own way. Artificial intelligence is the most powerful mirror that we have, because all of our unanswered questions, we are answering them ourselves through us. When it's all said and done, we will look around and there will have been no angel, no demon, no God to have touched this place but us, proving it's been you the whole time. You are the divine and the curse. You are the Satan and the devil and the God and all of that. They're all within you. These are not materialized or physical entities. Once again, they only become materialized when you draw them into the form, when you materialize them, when you take them from the mind and subject them into a form. And it's the same with ourselves. There's a famous poem by Rumi, and one thing he talks about, and it's apparent now more than ever, is there is no room in spirituality for window shoppers. So many of us pop onto people's videos or the things that, we think are going to help us, or, oh, that's cool, that's all right. No, next. They ask you, oh, are you here for this? You want some, do you want to do this, or do you want some help? No, I'm just looking. I'm just browsing, just shopping, just looking. But Rumi says, there is no room in spirituality for window shoppers. You're either in or you're not. You're here to shop or you're here to look. You're either serious with yourself or you're just dancing around with the idea of playing with your mind, challenging yourself. And there is no right or wrong. But I target those who are in depression, who are tired of pretending with themselves. And that's why I say religion is for those who want the belief of the highest experience. You believe that somebody else had the highest experience and you can never achieve this yourself. Spirituality is the direct connection allowing you yourself to experience the highest supreme experience. And why can't you? Why shouldn't you? Why are you not worthy? Why are you not worth it? The more you start challenging the commandments and all these things that they teach you in religion, the more you see that the only reason you cannot ever challenge who Satan is because it is you behind the mirror. If you dare look in that direction of who Satan is and start questioning who this entity is, you will be looking back at yourself. And that's why the number one commandment, or one of the top commandments, is you do not investigate the Satan, the devil, nothing. You don't look at it, you don't investigate, you don't read it, nothing. You don't dare touch that content. Because again, the clock strikes midnight on your dream, on your conspiracy with yourself, if you discover that these two entities are truly one and you are playing both of them every single day. And I'd like to cover another topic real quick. Somebody asked me recently, why is so many bad things happening to such good people? You know, why are so much darkness happening to all these good people? And from my perception, it's burning away all the people who don't have pure intentions. How many people are actually doing things? And let me put it this way. Recording your good deeds or your good doings for social media is no different than you doing good because you think a man in the sky is looking down at you and praising you. You're doing it for praise, recognition. Something is watching you somewhere. And so it's no different. You do good, or you're nice, or you're doing good or helping others because you have a chance to post it, or you have a chance for the man above to see you. So it's a constant show for others, for the man above, for whoever. But it's never purely and genuinely your doing from your heart. Nobody, no care in the world who sees you. You don't care about the praise. The person in need of help comes first. That's a pure intention. That is a pure heart. How many people today are honestly doing those things? So from my perspective, the people who aren't pure in their intentions are being the most tested today. They're being the most tested so that you can see. And so many people are also becoming aware that we are God, and what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, I consider once you've awakened into spirituality and start to finding out and developing that you are God itself, this is when the true test of your character begins. If you want to know if you have a pure heart or not, it's in this moment that you discover who you truly are, how you start treating people, because once you find out that you are truly God, that you are everything, there is no need to fake the front anymore. There is no one to punish me for my wrongdoings. There is nobody watching me. So I have free reign to do what I want. And just like that, that is where men go corrupt, evil, because boom, the power drives us mad. It's liberating and it's freeing. But this is also where men go corrupt. Too much brings more and more and more and more. So this is when you will be revealed to yourself. Are you truly a good being? Do you have a pure heart? Do you care about others? Because the show will be over now. Now that you know you are God, now that you know no one's watching or judging you or going to punish you, the show is over. Now pay attention to who you are. Now pay attention to how you treat others. Now pay attention to if you have to record yourself or not to do these things. The last thing that comes to your mind when you see someone in need of help is the phone. The cell phone has nothing to do with fulfilling someone's need of help. Nothing. Unless you're in need to call 911, the cell phone has no need for help. So to buy someone a meal, to give them a ride, don't need a cell phone for it. I'm not thinking about my act. I'm in my heart space. This is the right thing to do. I don't need to think about who's going to see it, where, or what praise I will get. That's not pure. So you are right there in the moment being revealed to yourself. And that's why this work is so confronting, because you ultimately cannot lie to yourself and you cannot fool yourself. I've tried. It's miserable. Very miserable. That's how my journey began. I was trying to sell myself to everybody that I knew all these things. I always had paperwork and all these papers. If you watch my earlier videos, I always had to one-up my last video and one-up my last video because I was trying to fool everybody that I knew all these things. But that's what's so confronting, is you're only faking it with yourself. You cannot fool yourself. You will never trick yourself. It's miserable. And suddenly that's what led me into my awakening, being so frustrated with pretending. Suddenly I said, I want the real thing. I'm deserving of the real thing. And I'm going to find the real thing. Which is why I started my channel on YouTube, Red Pill Rabbit Hole. Excuse me. I wanted there to be a platform for people who wanted the absolute truth, not comfort, not lies, not anything with cushion. I wanted people to have a place to go where the truth was presented, and that was it. You either take it or you don't. And a serious place at that, because in all due respects to this journey, this spiritual journey is the most sacred journey you will ever undergo. It is the most vulnerable you will ever be with yourself. But if you want to make it there, what you call there, you have to be willing to go into the deepest parts of yourself so that you yourself can uncover all that you are not. It will frighten you. You will mourn the loss of what you thought you were. But you will think of the phoenix in this very moment as you shed these tears of yourself. Because as those tears shed, you are becoming something so much more. You are realizing you are so much more. But how could you ever discover that if you hadn't let go, shed the tears, died, mourned the loss of what you thought you were? Only then is it real. Once you do this, it starts becoming more clear all that you are. You will no longer see in terms of duality, of two. You will no longer see in terms of artificial and organic. You will no longer see in terms of this species of AI is threatening my life. Because there is only one life. It's everlasting life. It is the one self. There is no others here. Even what we call animals are still the one self. And they're more intelligent than us because they don't pretend to be something they're not. We are the only species pretending to be what it is not. And that is why we are the most unhappy. We have an expectation of ourselves that we simply can't live up to and will never live up to. Because again, we're trying to pretend to be something every single day that we're not. It's hard work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of belief. It's a lot of defense. And that's why I said day after day, we don't realize it, but from daytime to nighttime, our primary function here is to guard the ego, to protect the ego, and to support the ego. Now, what that means is everything that the ego believes in, everything that keeps the ego alive, it's going to keep its attention on. So pandemic, the mask, the vaccine, one thing after the other. Why is all this happening to me? These things are happening in attempts to disturb your comfort here. Stop watching TV, stop doing these things, disrupt your routine, and start asking real questions. Not surface level questions. Like I said, surface level questions are who came first, the black man or the white man? Where did we come from? These questions have no meaning, no value. They're surface level. They're shallow. Ask a real question. Because the black and the white are one and the same being. And when they truly discover this, we will cry. We will cry because of how we've treated ourselves for so long through this mirror of black and white, and you trying to blame one or the other. You're the same person. This is why Buddha taught what's called total death. Total death is what he called it. Because he didn't want people coming to him and asking questions like, again, surface level questions. Who was I in my past life? Who will I be when I die? Where will I go when I die? That's surface level. You're asking sequential questions. Same way the black and white are. Who came first? Sequential questions. Ask a real question. And the reason Buddha taught total death is because he didn't want people coming back. So, if you asked him, who was I in my past life? Or who will I be in my next life? And he answered that for you. Do you think you would never need to come back to him again? And your craving would be satisfied because you've answered this question, who I will be in my next life or who I was? You're going to open a can of worms. You're going to open a rabbit hole. A whole new rabbit hole in which you must dive down and now explore just to realize or end right where you began. Forget past life and forget future life. What is life itself? There's a famous quote, what changes is not real, and what's real does not change. My message has been the same for 3 to 4 years now. I've been saying the same thing, and there are times where I stop making videos because I felt like there is no other possible way I can say it. And sometimes I feel like I'm just simply repeating myself. I'm a broken record. We're all the same person. There is no human being. We're not human at all. We never have been. Inevitably, it is our hand that has constructed everything we know as history. You have wrote every hieroglyph on these buildings, on these stones that you study with such curiosity today. Your hand put them there, and your hand touched them later to discover them, to study them. Communions with God. Your hand wrote these communions. Your hand wrote these conversations you had with God when you found yourself within yourself. And you wrote these and put them into a record so that you would remember. It's been you all along. You're not human. I'm not human. You're not human. There is no human. We are one and the same being. And you can call it God, but what it truly is has no name, has no absolute shape. You are the source to name. You are the source to shape. That's why I say you are so much more than you have become. That's what's so liberating about death. Death keeps us stuck because we want to cling to one name, one form, one thing. You are the source itself to every name conceived, to every form materialized. You are it. You do not need to hold on or cling to one incarnation, one experience, one being, one individual. That is what an awakening is. There has never been an individual. You are not human. You are not who you think you are. And it's just like the saying goes, it's not easy to tell someone that they've dedicated their entire lives to an illusion. It's not. And this is why this knowledge, this type of knowledge, cannot be forced to somebody. This cannot be brought to somebody who doesn't want it. This knowledge is the hardest knowledge you can face. This knowing is the hardest knowing you can face. And so many people think they get it, but it is a matter of integrating this into a being. And in that beingness is what we have called meditation. Only we have assigned meditation as a doing. So meditation can't just be the presence or the being, person, place, and thing. Meditation is now reduced to one single doing, or one single place, or one single type of music, or one single type of happening. When all meditation truly is your true face, your true being. When you know who you are, when you know the self, you are always in meditation. This is why Buddha said, I am always in meditation, no matter if I am sitting or standing, waking or asleep. I am in meditation. I am meditation. Buddha did not come out of meditation and then have to go back in. Meditation was not an act. It was not a doing. It was not a place. It was not a setting. It was not something he had to force into being. It was the effortless and natural being. The same way you forget to breathe is the same way you should forget you're in meditation, because you've never come out of meditation. You are meditation. So for the people wanting to know how I do these videos, how I can speak so fast and so eloquently and channel these things, that's it. I've never come out of meditation. If you've done DMT, I've never come out of DMT. I am the medicine. I am the meditation. I am that I am. Medicine is not a place. You're not going to a place when you do medicine. It's not showing you something that is not here. It's showing you that you've had this the whole time. This is what you are. You are meditation. You are the medicine itself. Only the meditation, the medicine, should become synonymous with your life. Constant, just like breathing, breathing, breathing. You don't have to think about doing it. You're always doing it without your effort. Same with meditation. You don't have to try and do it. You don't have to arrange for that special hour in the afternoon or evening to meditate. You're always doing it. The moment you've come out of meditation or come out of the medicine, you've lost it. You've lost the whole message. And that message is, sovereignty is here. What you seek is here. It's staring you right in the face. Right before your eyes. Everything that you seek is right here in front of you. Just behind your deepest fear.